Hello, 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 and welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage. It is Monday, August 29th, 2022. We're getting close. This month is almost over. September's right around the corner, literally, and that means fall is also right around the corner. Looking forward to that. I know we've all had the summer, we've all had the rain, and except for, Robert in Texas. He had plenty of heat, and got all the rain for the year all at one time. So glad you all are here. And if this is your first time, I encourage you to participate. I have a special little thing that I offer. If you participate, you get a little reward. Just something I offer free of charge for you to interact with me and the group. Now, in this live stream, we tend to focus on what I call classic cars. And classic to me, 55 to about 73, maybe somewhere in that bracket, maybe 78, 79, somewhere in that range. But that's where we are. Now, if you have a question, I'll ask it. If you have a subject you want to talk about, bring it up. That's all well and good. Sometimes I try to give you information on things. Sometimes I don't have the information to give, and I have a great group of people over here in the chat box who generally have a great answer. So we have a great following. Great. Like I said, great. I said great like many times now. Have great many times. So sit back, grab your ice cream or your cold beverage or whatever you may be enjoying, maybe some popcorn, and check out what's going on this live stream. So let's see who is here. Right off the top, we have Rick Gain checking in. Thumbs up. It's Monday night. Cars and ice cream, not coffee for me. So I'll give you a bell for being here and for ice cream. I love ice cream. I really do. Terry Keith leading all. Please hit the like and thumbs up for Barry. Thank you all. Yes. Thank you, Terry. Jerry checking in from the Muddy Pit in Middle Tennessee. And thumbs up. Okay. Yes. Thank you, Jerry. Let's see who's here. Jeff Reynolds. Jeff Reynolds from the UK. I don't remember exactly where. Somewhere over there in the UK. Hello, Rick, Terry, Jerry, and Barry. Rick, I just happen to be eating ice cream approaching midnight here in Barking. There you go, East London. Sorry, London. I know. As we come to an end of a public holiday, may substitute coffee with beer. Okay, I'll give you a couple of bells for all that. Yes. Yeah. Although I would probably lean towards the ice cream myself more than the beer, but I do like beer. So, Roger checking in from next door. Glad you were here. Appreciate you. And you may, I don't know if you noticed or not, Roger's also one of my moderators, so he helps keep things in track along with Robert. So I'll give them both a bell for being moderators. That helps out a ton. Now I have set up the parameters on this live stream. You have to be subscribed for 5 minutes in order to participate. That helps keep the riffraff out. So let me go down here real quick. I see this Jeff. Super sticker. Awesome, man. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I do. Let me go back up, get caught up on Troy Justit. Good day, evening, night to our local and international group and my fellow Georgians, Barry and Roger. I hope all had a good week. Yep. I'll have to talk about that some too. Some things going on this past week. I mentioned it in my Patreon video that I made earlier, posted earlier, but we'll talk about that a little bit. Rick Stevenson, good evening, everyone. Glad you're here, Rick. Give you a little bell. Jeff Reynolds. Barry, when you see this comment and maybe ask when I'm going to book my slot to appear on your channel, I want your subscribers to know that, like Rick, I'd like to discuss what I eat, drink, and cars. That's fine. That is awesome. That is fine. If you want to talk about that, you're welcome to it. You're welcome to it. Let me just go ahead and open up my email account just in case you send me an email and you want to be part of that. Dave Conville checking in. Good evening. Give you a Dave Bell. Dawn's Manufactory. Hello, folks. Hope you all are doing good. Headed for triple digits tomorrow. I'll give Dawn a bell, but not the triple digits. No, don't want that. Ooh, that's bad. Bad. Robert, I'm here trying to get our vacation planned last minute. Sadly, plane tickets are twice the price when using the airline employee discount. Awesome. May end up in England versus Greece this year. That's something I was going to talk about with the flights and the flight benefits of employees for airlines or retirees for airlines. I'll just give you a quick rundown. My wife was planning to fly to Pennsylvania this past week to be at a wedding, and the plans all got changed. My family was gonna drive up without me. I stayed here to take care of our animals, and so it was supposed to be a caravan. Let's say our oldest son, his wife, our two grandkids, and my wife. We're going to get in a van and drive to Pennsylvania on, I think, a Wednesday night was the plan. Daughter-in-law came down with COVID. Canceled all that. Younger son and his girlfriend were going to fly up to Pennsylvania. They bought tickets because they don't have flight privileges. So they bought tickets. Great. My wife, we decided we're going to put her on the same flight as a standby passenger. Now, with my previous seniority, she was number one on the list. She didn't get on the flight. Did not happen. That flight was at 6:15. Didn't get on it. The next flight was at 10 something. So we said, okay, that flight's wide open. Wide open. You'll get on that flight no matter what. Sure enough, she did. She sure did. There were like 49 open seats on that flight. No problem at all. So she waited all till waited till 10 o'clock, and they said, we have a problem. We're going to have to delay this flight. Oh, great. Now what? They delayed the flight to 11, and then to 12, and then to 1 o'clock because they couldn't find a pilot to fly the plane. Then they canceled the flight. So what was the end result? Well, my wife spent the whole night in the airport because they were still maintaining that flight, and it was going to leave at 8 o'clock in the morning. So she spent the whole night sitting in the airport waiting for a pilot to show up so that they could fly to Pennsylvania. In the meantime, my youngest son and his girlfriend, they had to get a hotel because they were going to drive to our family, which is 2 hours from Pittsburgh, and they didn't. They stayed in Pittsburgh to get my wife picked up and take her with. It was a mess. But they made it. They made the wedding. Everything's good. She just didn't get any sleep. So that's part of the problem of trying to fly as a employee or past employee, whatever. So now you know. Jack checking in says, hi, Barry. Hi, Jack. And nice hat. Yeah, I thought I'd wear something different tonight. Maintenance Matters, New Jersey, LLC. There's a little shout out for you. Harvey checking in. Hello, Barry. Happy almost fall. Yes. Haven't had you on in a while, Harvey. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. Randall checking in from Utah. Hey, Randall. Glad you're here. We already showed Jeff. And Crash Rider. From stormy southern Indiana, good evening to all. It appears tonight will be the Joe Daddy Car and Food channel. Be sure to hit the like button. Yeah. Jeff Reynolds, Barry, a couple things from your intro. Wait a minute. Let me go back. Because he's asking me another question, so let me finish with Troy. I'm working on my front apron where the battery sits. I'll have to add metal to it to make it fit right. A little shot on the shock tower side. But other than that, it looks good. Okay. Yeah, those bad luck with the battery boxes. Bad luck. Jerry, the i6 noise appears that the number one main bearing is bad, causing noise. Okay, so last week we were talking about engine stuff, and Jerry brought up that his inline six started to make a rattle. And what he's diagnosed it as is number one bearing is bad, causing noise. So hopefully that's not too difficult of a fix. But sorry to hear that, Jerry, but I'm glad it didn't happen later. You know, once you're on the road somewhere and rattle, rattle, clunk, clunk, things fall apart. So that's kind of a blessing in disguise. Jeff Reynolds, Barry, those two things. Fall, are you talking about the end of meteorological summer? My second point, I'm glad you extend classical to maybe 79. This will include my 79 Trans Am 403 Olds. Okay, well, there you go, Jeff. You're now part of the club. I don't know if I'd want to go past 79. It really it starts to go downhill from there. I mean, granted, they kept the Camaro body from what, up to 81. You know, the Camaro Firebird body, I think 81. And 82, they went to the wedge. Kind of went off to the side on that one. But yeah, good. I'm glad you feel welcome, Jeff. That's what I want to do. I want to make sure everybody feels welcome. Richard, hello everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. Thank you, Richard. Give you a little bell for that. Okay. So I told you about the family situation, what was going on. The good thing about all that is they're visiting family, you know, which is always important. And we actually don't live too far away from, if you remember, Flight 93, kind of important, and the Flight 93 Memorial. So today they were going to visit the Flight 93 Memorial, and I think a few other things. I don't know what else she had messaged me about. But, you know, a pretty neat place if you haven't seen it. If you're ever up in Pennsylvania, in that part of the country, go ahead and drive by there and have a look at it. Mr. Mikey, 1949. Good evening, sir. Put a TAC sensor on a 7.3 IDI this morning. Of all the things, the transmission works better. Okay. That's a good thing, right? That's a big plus. Good. Wait a minute. There you go. A little better bell for that. Now, side notes. I say side notes. A few things I've been able to take care of today while I'm managing our pets and all those sort of things. I was able to take Frankentruck to the scrap metal place today. I haven't had that truck driven it anywhere in probably, I don't know, a year, maybe? I don't even know. Fired it up, made sure everything was working, and drove it to the scrap metal place because there's been a pile of scrap metal on the back of that truck for a long time. I use, if I do a maintenance job like brakes or even welding stuff together and I have leftover, I'll toss it on the back of the truck because it's right outside the door. And that pile got pretty big. Now, that's a good thing, getting rid of all that stuff. In the grand scheme of things, I don't know for sure. Because, yes, there was a lot of scrap. The Honda hood, this is the boat thing that I tore apart. There was just all kinds of miscellaneous stuff. But I ended up making like $50 off of this thing. I thought it would be more, but it only totaled like 650 pounds or something. They gave me $50. So, fine. It's all gone. I did save some of the stuff because there's some things that I wanted to keep hold of, some metal and stuff. So I did keep that. The other thing, I managed to figure out the steering on the 56 Chevy. I had help from input from Roger. You know, every time I'm doing something that I'll say involves a lot of thinking, I end up really thinking about what the actions and reactions are to what I'm doing, how pieces need to interact with each other. And I get close to where I'm good with it. And then I'll say to Roger, I say, why don't you come over here and take a look at this and see if I'm missing something. So it's always been good. We've always worked well together on that sort of thing. And he looks things over and, you know, we go through every process and cycle and try to see what's going on. And sometimes he sees something I don't, which is great. That's why I want that input. And then go from there. So the steering box is now in the car. The steering shaft is in the car. We still have a debate going on with the steering column. We're putting in an I did it steering column, but we can't find the right mount setup. If anybody has any input on that, email me or something. But you're supposed to have, if you go to like Summit, they tell you need this piece. Well, this column diameter is 2 inches. And they want to sell you a billet piece that, well, let me just grab it. Let me just grab it so you can see what I'm talking about. But they sell you this billet piece, and this doesn't work. It looks like it would work, but it doesn't. The reason is the gap between these two holes. Hold on just a second. Let me pull this Mr. Mikey down. So this distance is like 5 inches. 2-inch hole for the go around. This one like separate, but it needs to be 3 inches to use the bolts that are in the coming down from the top of the dash panel. And they tell you, oh, this will work. No, this won't work. This might be for a truck or something. And we've been looking for what hopefully would be the right piece. Can't seem to find it. Now, I did find a part that was from a Ford. I don't remember the part number, but it looked a little different than this, and it was narrower, and it would probably work. I'm not sure if I designed their steering column to be worked or used with the original mount hardware. Another problem is we don't know where that hardware is. That stuff is misplaced at the moment, so we don't have anything. We don't have any of the brackets or anything that would hold the steering column in. So that's been kind of a struggle at the moment with the finishing this up. So the steering column is in the car, but it's held in with a zip tie, and then the shaft of the column, or the coming through the firewall, it's just barely coming through, because when I was putting all this together, I wanted to, let's say, design it so I had max length on a steering column, because if I need to, I can change that later and move it forward to make it match something else. It's a matter of trimming one of the steering shafts. Pretty easy. So, on that side of things, whenever you're doing something like that, always try to go to in this case, the max distance, and then you can trim it down later. When you've discovered that the steering column's up in your face, you're like, oh, wait a minute. Pretty easy to modify. Now, let's see, Randall. Any advice for reinstalling everything under the dash? I didn't take it apart. Sequence for wipers, ducts, vents, ductwork, vintage airbox, and wiring. Okay. Probably just kind of thinking about it for a moment. I know when I didn't take all the wiring out of Jade. I didn't take all the wiring out, but I did remove the wipers, pulled all that out of the way. And I think what you need to do is get the wipers in first, I think, because those are a bolt-in thing that you can't relocate. Those are staying right where they're at. The ductwork is generally a lot more flexible, right? And same way with the wiring. Now the wiring is going to be, I don't know if you're using a new wiring harness or not, but the wiring, if it's a new thing, you can manipulate it wherever you want. Not a big deal. If it's the original, you're going to have certain areas that maybe it's tied together and it has to be connected on a certain post or something to help it stay, in its natural form. But I would go with thinking about the wipers first, because they're rigid. There's nothing else you can do with those. And then work your way around those other things. Vents, I don't know what kind of vents are in that car specifically, but usually the vents are out of the way of any wiring, so it may not hurt. You can probably put those in afterwards. But that's kind of how I see it. Vintage airbox, I did a video on all that. Wasn't that difficult to put in that box, and the wiring wasn't an issue. So I think I would address the wiring, and then I might mock up the box first, make sure it's all going to fit, and then take care of the wiring, and then the box afterwards, I think. So hope that helps. Good question, though. Jeff Reynolds. Barry, you're quite right about 79 being the absolute limit. 79 was the last year of the Trans Am 400 big block. Well, there you go. See? And another reason I suggested 79, I've said this before, I like the Malibu cars. And 78 and 79, although 78 is really, to me, the end of what would be more of a muscle car era for the Malibu, the boxy one, the very boxy Malibu. because 78 was the first year for that body, but it was the last year that you could order it with a 350 engine in it. After that, they went to the 305 or whatever. So 78 draws a line right there for that Malibu, even though the 78 and 79 body, nose and everything is the same. And 80, 81, it changes. So I kind of, in that respect, I like the 78 limit on the Malibu, but it's all splitting hairs at that point. Steve Grimes, there's a new park across the road from Flight 93. It's called Patriot Park. It has hundreds of flags. Very cool. You know, the last time I was up there, I saw the sign for that stuff, for that park, but I did not know what it was about. I don't know what's in there. I have not explored that. I did drive by Flight 93, and I actually have some friends who live right there. I mean, they were super close to being part of the impact. So anyway, I have not seen or gone into the Patriot Park. I don't know if my wife did today or not. They might have. So thank you, Steve. Dawn says, Randall, I have started a series on the cowl and dash. So there you go. You can check out Dawn and see what he's got going on with Betsy. Thank you, Dawn. Robert, I give my scrap steel to a friend, but copper and aluminum I take into my local place that has cool goodies from Lockheed. Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's probably a good plan. Yeah, everything I had steel, I had copper, I had aluminum. I didn't really care. I just wanted it off the truck. I was so tired of seeing that pile sitting on the truck. It all went. Well, except for a few select items that I held on to. Let's see. Randall, Dodge Manufacturer. I'll check it out. Okay. Harvey, we have had a great local cruise night here at an AutoZone on Monday nights. Lots of different cars and trucks growing every week. Tina likes the live appearances. Good. That's good. It's nice to have those kind of things. We have one generally locally to us the first and the third Monday of the month. I've made it to a couple of them. But yeah. Oh, that's the other news. Kind of news. Even though I haven't been able to finish all the little things on the Jade Mustang, the 68, I discovered that the battery was bad. Now, whether that was part of the problem with everything else, I don't know. But I went, because I think I told you last time I took it out, I went to start it and it wouldn't start. And I hooked up the jump box to it, and it started right up. So then I had driven it to the cruise in, went to leave, it wouldn't start, jumped it again, drove home, and I just kind of just parked it. Said, okay, I'm not messing with it right now. Well, I decided that I was going to try to take it to the last cruise in. And I thought, well, let me just see. If it'll start, I'll go. It wouldn't start. So I decided to check the battery. The battery is reading 10 volts. The battery was also 6 years old. I think it had a dead cell. But here's something you need to know. We all look at the price of things and the cost of things. And, of course, batteries are outrageously expensive. Outrageously expensive. You can easily put $180, $200 in a standard battery now. And for what? For why? Now, I don't understand why they're so expensive. However, this is something I learned when I was working on the Honda Civic. I had gone to the U Pullet Yard, the LKQ. And when I was there, they had a rack of batteries. And I was like, well, wait a minute. What do you get for batteries? $50. $50 for a battery. You bring in your old battery and exchange it, pay $50, you're good to go. So I did that with the Honda. I got a battery from them, and I took back the battery up. I took the battery up there from the Mustang. They had a brand new die-hard, blah blah blah, something 2021, basically a new battery, and 750 cold cranking amps, all that. And the cool part about it, it's got a lifetime warranty. It says it's got a lifetime warranty. So if you buy a battery from LKQ, keep the receipt. If it goes bad, just take it back. Apparently they'll warranty it, which is pretty amazing, I think. So just keep that in mind if you're looking ever need a battery, and you happen to have an OKQ in the area. Chris Greenaway, hello. What's another interesting thing about the full size 65 to 68 Mercuries? What's another interesting? I know you're going to tell us. I know you're going to tell us because I don't know. I don't know. Couldn't tell you. But I'm sure you have something to tell us, Chris. Sylvan Shelton. Okay. That's a different name. How long is too long for gravity brake bleeding? I'm just asking because it's happening now. How long is too long? That's a good question. I haven't actually done gravity brake bleeding. I've always done it with somebody helping me pump the brakes and bleed off the pressure, lock it up, pump it up, bleed it out, all that. But I don't have an answer for that because I've never actually done that. So I guess too long would be when all the fluid is gone. I don't know what else to tell you, but maybe somebody else has an answer for that. But I don't. Good question, though, Sylvan. That is a good question. But I have not done that. Marshall, howdy folks, been working on the rear seat delete for the fastback. Coming together well. I'll send you some Pixbury. Randall, for doing dash work, taking the seats out can offer more comfortable access. That is true. And I think he probably already has his seats out. But that is very true. Yeah, you take a little bit of time to take the seats out. So you're doing a rear seat delete. Okay. So you're doing a fold down thing, whatever that setup was. Jeff, Barry and Randall, I appreciated the discussion about reinstallation. Barry, I appreciated your explanation of what to pre-install, i.e. before you paint. Yes. Yeah, there's lots of things, man, like pre-install, test fit. There's lots of things. Like even this car, it's painted, it's all done, right? But as I'm going through the sequence of putting in, setting the engine and the transmission, putting on the headers. Okay, what else interacts with headers? Steering. Making sure the steering works. Getting all that in the right place. What else is there? Oh, clutch ball. Clutch linkage. So you got to get the clutch, everything lined up and working with that, as well as everything else. So it's all these things that interact with each other that we tend to forget about sometimes. Some people they'll put something together and go, oh, wait a minute, I forgot to put in X. And now I have to modify everything. I like to be modified first. Get that taken care of and be done with it. So thank you, Jeff. Chris says, any guesses? We're talking about 65 to 68 Mercuries. They, I don't know. I would guess left-handed lug nuts, but that would be a Dodge. So I don't know. I don't think anybody has any guesses, but let us know, Chris. Shopcat Industries, hi Barry and everyone, had a blast at a vintage tractor pull and show yesterday. I'll have so much video coming up, not to mention tons of cool cars. Ergo, all original 62 Dart Max Wedge. Well, that's an interesting combination. Cool. And if it's a station wagon, I'd be even more excited. Good stuff. Jerry, I bleed my brakes myself, and I use a $35 vacuum pump. See, there you go. There you go. Shopcat says, Chris Greenaway, little known fact, 6.6 Mercury steering wheels can be adapted to a 1970 Han riding mowers, apparently. At least that's what mine has. So there you go. It has a steering wheel that can fit a lawnmower. Whoops. Bob Shoemaker, late to the party again. Glad you're here, Bob. Rich Reese checking in. Glad you're here. Get a couple bells for the two of you. Chris, the new interesting fact, full-size Mercury's park lane, etc. had a power back window option. Used to be a signature feature on a Mercury. Okay. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Park lane, there was another one. What was the Ford version? because we had several of those up at the junkyard. And I remember looking at those and going, that's weird, because it had that reverse angle back window. But yeah, that's cool. I'm trying to think what the other, there was a Ford version too, I think. Good fact though. Thank you, Chris. Doyle, epoxy primer before seam sealer or direct to metal, then prime, opinion. Let's see, epoxy primer before seam sealer or direct to metal, then prime. Okay. If I'm putting epoxy on, I want to go all direct to metal. I'm not worried about the seams. I would rather have epoxy in there first. Then add in the seam sealer. Because I know the seam sealer is, they make seam sealer that goes direct to metal. I get that. Epoxy primer is meant to go to bare metal. So you can still put it on top of seam sealer from what I gather. However, I would rather do epoxy primer, hit all the seams, make sure everything's got epoxy deep inside it, and then come back and put the seam sealer, make that all smooth, and then come back with my round of high build. Because I would rather put high build over top of that seam sealer and be able to sand it and smooth it up if I need to, as opposed to what I end up with the other way. Because the seam sealer and then epoxy, it works, but I like having epoxy deep into those gaps as much as I can. So good question though. I like that. Anybody else have an opinion? Feel free. Dawn, gravity bleeding works with disc, not with drum brakes. Should bleed fairly quickly. So thank you, Dawn. Shopkin Industries, it was called the breezeway window. Oh, you're talking about the back glass. Oh, well, that may be. I don't know. I'll have to take your word for it on that one. I don't know that sounds cool. The breezeway window. Okay. I'll give you a bell, even though I can't verify that. I'll take your word for it. Harvey, do those Mercury vehicles have Kelsey Hayes front calipers? Okay. I don't know about that. We'll have to see what Chris says. Rich Reese, wait a minute. If you're mixing fade out, how much clear and thinner? That's probably out of my range. Are you talking about doing like a fade on paint job? I don't have a good answer for that. I've never tried it, so I don't know. Sorry. Chris is giving Shopcat a ding. Okay. Randall, sprayed Second Skin Spectrum Sound Deadener this weekend. That's a lot of S's right there. Sprayed Second Skin Okay. Next up is underdash work and getting ready to weld bond the roof skin back on. Okay. Well, you've got your work cut out for you. That's good progress, though, by the sounds of it. Figured out question about 66 dimensions. My car's gaps and panels fit well, but having checked the frame measurements compared to the Liskey drawings, they don't line up. Thoughts on how to proceed? Yeah, quit measuring things. I'll just say that. Quit measuring everything. I've run into those kind of situations. I don't know how accurate some of these drawings are. I've heard people talk about there's measurements that are off on these drawings and whatever. To me, I look at it as if the car has not been wrecked or anything like that, and the understructure is straight and functional and in the right location overall. I'm more concerned with how the sheet metal looks at the end of the day. And what I mean is, if I have to do some adjustments, if I'm putting on quarters or whatever, and there's a gap somewhere that shouldn't be there, or I'll compensate for that gap somehow and make the quarter panel fit the car, because that's more important. The end result is the exterior of the car. How does it look? Now, obviously, if there's something that's way out of place, like if it's been wrecked or something bent or bowed up and it's changing and deflecting the frame rail and all that stuff, that's another situation. But if you have good gaps and panels fit well, I would say don't just quit digging. That we all do this. We all think that we need to go a step further and try to make it more perfect, whatever. And the reality is, you end up beating yourself up, thinking something's wrong, or I'm not doing something right, and there's really sometimes nothing you can do about it. The tolerance on these cars was pretty big, so there are some things that could be off that you just can't do anything about. So, hope that helps, and maybe gives you an answer that might help you resolve that. But that's kind of how I look at it. Shopcat also standing on Continental Mark 3, 4, 5. Okay. Interesting. Harvey, epoxy before seam sealer. You want epoxy seep into the cracks and gaps. Yep. That's what I was trying to say. Thank you, Harvey. Rich Reese. Uh-oh. What was it? Yeah, sorry, Rich. I wish I could give you the easy answer on that, but I can't. Dave, have you ever done any fiberglass body repair? I'm sure you have. Got any tips for repairing an old Corvette nose for wall art? Sent you pics. Oh, you sent me some pics. Okay. Oh, really? You're gonna tease me with that. You're gonna tease me with that. That is not fair. Why would you do that to me? Oh, hold on a second. Let me clear out some stuff here. Now I'm jealous. Dave has something I would love to have to hang on the wall, and I would probably put it in the house. My wife would kill me. I'd have to hang this in the house and put the lights in it and everything. Look at this. Look. Oh. Wouldn't that be awesome? Wouldn't that be awesome? I know the pic sideways, but that would look so cool hanging on the wall. Okay. So let me discuss some things here with you. Yes, I have done a fair amount of fiberglass body repair. And I have videos on it. I have videos of repairing the fiberglass dune buggy, I believe. I think. I know I have videos repairing a trailer, a fiberglass trailer. The biggest thing when I'm doing something like that, as far as that goes, is I use depending on what you're working with. Like that's probably going to be the long strand fiberglass. I don't know how bad the damage is or what you have. But if you need some structural repairs, you generally use the long strand fiberglass and maybe put some of the weave stuff inside it, to make like a sandwich type effect. But I, for the most part, will use the long strand fiberglass for just about everything, and then build that up, and then come back and top coat it with body filler, Rage body filler. Especially for wall art, it's not going to be that critical. But I do have several videos if you look them up. And another thing I like to do, I take a piece of aluminum foil, lay it down, mix up my resin with the hardener, put it on the foil, take the fiberglass, push it down into it, and impregnate. Somebody got a kick out of that when I said that in the video when I made the fiberglass repair. I said, you impregnate, which is what you're doing. And get all the resin into the fiberglass and then pick it off of the foil and push it into your damaged area, and then push out all the bubbles. Make sure there's no bubbles. Bubbles are bad. So you want to get all that out of there. So anyway, good question. And I'm jealous. I don't know where you got that thing, but I'm jealous. And you, like I said, check the videos. That'll help. Chris, it's stupid Mercs are better than Ford, in my opinion. Well, yeah, I guess it depends on which side of the fence you're on. They're all made by Ford, so it's really kind of the same product. It's just a few different features, mostly. Just like if you look at the Camaro and the Firebird and Plymouth and Road Dodge and whatever, they all kind of had the same things. But the Mercuries did have some nicer options, so you're right about that, as far as that goes. Figured out, okay, I think I can manage that. Okay. Uh, yeah, that's the reality. Rich, when you're painting epoxy, what brand are you wet or block when dry? What paper? Um, okay, so I have used, for the most part, PPG epoxy. One of the projects I did, I used some epoxy from Summit, which I heard is like, what is the brand? Kirker or something? Somebody told me it's the same company. Um, are you wet in wet or block when dry? Okay, I'm not exactly sure what you're asking, but the way epoxy it works, you have a window of opportunity, let's say. So when you apply the epoxy, it'll tell you in the instructions that you have so many days to top coat it with the next thing. After that time period, it gets too dry and you need to sand it. And I've done that before. I've had stuff sitting for years with epoxy on it, and I've gone back and sanded it to scuff it up, break the surface, and come back and sprayed it with high build. So that's typically how I do it. Now, what paper? I mean, whatever works for you, honestly. You might use 180, you might use 220 to just break the surface and get it ready for the high build primer to stick to it. So if anybody else has any advice on that, by all means, but that's how I look at it. Good question, though. Robert, I use several drawings to get rough numbers. All of them have errors. The Liskey one has several errors. See, that's what I was saying. I knew there was problems, and I don't trust all that stuff. People will pass that information around and around and around. And it's like, there's a problem. Well, I don't care. Just use it. No. Chris, it's stupid trivia. It's a stupid trivia. Well, it works. It is trivia. Dave Convo, I couldn't say no when I saw it. Yeah, I'll bet. I'll bet. And Robert, I'd put that nose right over the TV. That would be awesome. With the lights on it and everything. Mount some speakers inside it so you got your hidden speaker system. That's what you tell the wife. I bought a speaker system. Yeah, that's what it was. A speaker system. Dave Conville, same plan. Lights, etc. I have the bumpers. Oh, man. How did you stumble across that? Jeff, Barry, I think your quit measuring is correct and the reasons given. There's very few of us can get to the level of Peterson restorations. Well, yeah. I mean, he does a good job. But even at that, I haven't watched very many of his videos. But yeah, it's easy to just overthink everything. Thank you, Jeff. Dave, I'll have to check the old videos. It's rough, basically in pieces. Thanks for the tips. Well, I mean, even if it's in pieces, you can save it. Obviously, you can save it. It doesn't look that bad. I mean, it really doesn't look that bad to me. But then again, most things don't look that bad to me. Rich Reese, thank you. You're welcome. Dave says, Robert, I was thinking the TV over it, hide the cable box in the grill. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You put the speakers up there. That way you tell the wife it's a speaker system. There you go. Probably if I had all the other pieces, I mean, I could probably make that thing or get something close enough. I'd have to make some molds and just layer fiberglass over the molds and create my own version of that. But I won't. I'm not that dedicated. Chris, have an idea with my spider crack nose if I have to buy a new one for a buddy shop. Yeah. Dave, my annual trip to Corvettes at Carlisle, I was the first one on it Thursday morning. Well, good for you. And full disclosure, wife was with me at the time. Awesome. Even better. Even better. I will say this, though. I don't know if I have I've probably shown a picture of it before. I don't know if I have one. I don't have one in my files. I do have this one though. Let me share this one because I haven't done this in a while. Okay. I have a piece of wall art that is hanging in our, I don't know what would be considered dining area, living room, something. And it's 6 feet tall and 9 feet wide, and it is a canvas print, and it's from a business that we helped out with their setting up a display. Rockback Pizza was the name of the place, and they had the storyboards of the how the business came into being, and it was all cartoonish and people falling down and all kinds of crazy stuff. If you've ever been to Mellow Mushroom, it kind of follows that pattern of Mellow Mushroom. But anyway, they went out of business, and so they asked that we take a vehicle that they had there and move it for them. Basically, I ended up with this 6x9 print that is hanging on the wall in our living area. And my wife is okay with that. It's like the only thing that I was allowed to hang in the house ever. Dave, she told me you should buy that. She's a keeper. There you go. There you go. Jeff Reynolds, Barry, I'm also loving the discussion about paint. I choked on my beers. Your first mention of speaker system. That's what it is. It's a speaker system, honey. Simone checking in. Hi, Barry and all. Glad to hear Simone. And just a quick hello. It's quite late. Hi, Rick. Okay. And Robert has responded to Simone. Shoot me an email. So, Simone, if you see that, by all means, connect with Robert so that he can get some information from you. You know, it's funny. I was looking at. I keep getting these emails from Google, right? And it's not Google, but it's somebody using whatever to try to make it look like it's from Google. And so I had this email showed up earlier today that was, it says YouTube copyright report, right? And basically it's trying to tell me that I've got, it's saying that I have some sort of copyrighted material or something on my channel. And so I looked at it real quick. I did not respond to it by any means. And so I go back and I checked my my actual YouTube account and wanted to see, because they'll tell me if I have any copyright issues. And whatever this was, I did not open it because there's always people trying to get you to click on emails and stuff. So just be careful of that. If y'all probably already know this, but I get things from Amazon, from PayPal, or it looks like them, and they'll say, "Oh, your account." And what's so funny is if you read it, normal English, when you hear people say your account be suspended due to not comply with rules set up, it's all like backwards. So just make sure you read what it says. Because every time I see those, I'm like, really? Maybe if you understood English and you could actually create a sentence that sounded legit, maybe then I might click on it, but I don't. Dave Conville, nice hat, by the way. Yeah. Why not? Chris, if I was going to try to repaint it for the shop. Wait, talking about the nose, how to prep urethane. That's a good question. I don't know that I have an easy answer for you because I haven't messed with urethane in quite some time. So I don't want to lead you down a path the wrong way. So I don't want to. Robert might have some answers for that, but I don't have a good answer. Simone says, will do. Okay. Car Guy Troy checking in. Lots of scam emails out there. Have to be careful with that stuff. Yeah. Here's another one. Here's another one that you might get, depending on, I don't know, maybe phone service or whatever. They'll alert me sometimes. It'll say, a phone call might say, could be possible spam. Okay, I get that. And for the most part, unless you're already in my phone, I'm probably not going to answer. If you're not going to leave a message, I'm not going to call you back. I don't do that. But I've been getting these, I've gotten some messages that the first one I got said, hi, this is Emily. I just got a new phone. I wanted to make sure I had your number right or something like that. And I was like, I responded back, I'm sorry, I think you have the wrong number. Then those people responded back, oh, gosh, I'm sorry. I don't know how that happened. And I was, initially I was like, okay, well, maybe somebody did accidentally send me a text. And then as it went on, it says, what is your name? Where do you live? No. No. No, not going to do that. Not going to do that. So I blocked that person. And then next day I got another one. Hi, this is Sylvia. I just got a new phone. Get out. Go away. I'm not talking to you. So just keep thinking about those things. I'm sure other people get those as well, but lots of scams out there. Donnie Williams, if they sound illiterate is what you mean. Well, yeah. Yeah, well, the thing is, the English language doesn't translate well. That's one advantage. We, for the most part, those of us in the United States, somewhat in other countries that use English frequently, there's different words that we use for different things. And they don't know how to translate those words. And that's what gets them caught up, is they're trying to make it sound like they're using the right word, but they don't know what it is. So, yeah, you're right though. That would be somewhat illiterate. Simone, I get scam email and calls from Amazon scammers, but I have no account with Amazon. I mess with them and get them angry. Yeah, I had another call because I'm dealing with some other stuff. I did get a call that was kind of random, but the number looked familiar, and I did answer it by this in this particular, and it was an automated voice, and it said, "Hi, this is so and so with blah blah blah. We want to talk to you about blah blah blah." And I was like, "Who is this?" "Hi, this is so and so with blah blah blah." And I said, "Who is this?" "Hi, this." It's like, okay, bye. Robert, when I have done urethane noses and spoilers on GM stuff, I have wet sanded a bunch, then coat with epoxy and treat it like anything else. Basically, get the lacquer paint off, then paint. So there's an answer for Chris. So I know Robert has messed with that stuff before. Coat with epoxy and treat it like anything else. Basically, get the lacquer paint off, then paint. Doyle, I have been trying to reach you about your extended warranty. Robert, will take pics of the spoiler on an 84 El Camino I painted 14 years ago for long-term results. We'll have it for next week as it ain't stored here. Okay. That sounds reasonable. Here we go. Donnie Williams, can you recommend a good undercoating to use? Good question. The difficulty with that question, to me, is based on where do you live, partly. What condition is your vehicle? That's part of it, too. A lot of people will use the lizard skin. Some people will use truck bed liner material, which is very tough and very durable. I've used rattle can 3M spray-on undercoating. Here where I live in Georgia, we don't have salt. we don't have much of anything that causes problems. Uh, we might get surface rust on stuff, but for the most part, unless it's been sitting in the woods for the last 50 years, we don't deal with really bad issues. Um, okay, so you're saying Texas, new floor plan installed. Okay, so really your options are open pretty good. If you want to use a lizard skin, that seems like a decent product. Um, if you look at the bed liner stuff, pretty tough. I know you can buy this equipment to spray all that. Just know that anything you spray, you need to really mask the area so you're not blowing it all over your shop or whatever. Um, I kind of like the bed liner stuff because it is so tough. But so I know that in one instance that I did spray lizard skin on a car, it peeled loose. I don't know if we applied it wrong or if there was something wrong with the mix, but it did cause a problem. I have used the bed liner coating in the floor of the dune buggy, like the interior floor of the dune buggy. Just brushed it in there and had some sand in it to give texture, and so it worked really well. Um, so here Simone says, plenty of salt here. We use Gravitex, Raptor, and a few others. So I've used Gravitex before. I have not used Raptor, but that is probably a good choice as well. So good answers there. Robert, I'm in Texas and anything will work fine here. Even nothing but paint works, but a thick coating makes it quieter. And Robert says Raptor is a great product. So we've got a couple calls for Raptor. Like I said, I've had one experience with lizard skin. Yeah. So sounds like you have plenty of options. For me, like I said, here in Georgia, I use a spray rattle can undercoating because we don't have any kind of real issues to deal with. But good question, and we got some good answers. Robert, the better half is hilarious when talking to the house buyer companies. Yeah. And Robert says to Donnie, bedliner. Let's see. Come on down here. Okay. Yeah, any of those will probably be a good product for what you're doing. Oh, here's another side note. I've been talking about the materials stuff that I need for the 67 fastback conversion. And I've been able to get in touch with a Dynacorn supplier, and we have gone back and forth on a couple things trying to get a good answer. Currently, what did we come up with? For the, well, maybe it's in an email because he'd been texting me. Currently, we have some numbers working on what is available for the conversion. And as of right now, we're up to about $5,000 as far as parts go. And that's 5,000. Wait a minute. That's 5,000. Let me see if I can get this to move so I can see it. Without the core support, that's on back order. The right-hand quarter panel is on back order. The taillight panel is on back order. Rear valance is on, lower valance is on back order. One of the roof brace is on back order, and the trunk lid is on back order, and it's still about $5,000. So we're working on that to see if we can get those parts ordered and get them here. So it's sitting waiting. The other part of that is we're checking on parts for a 69 that I'm going to be working on for somebody else, and we're trying to get all the numbers lined up and figure out what we can get, because there's a lot of stuff still on back order. So just kind of an update on that. I'm still waiting on Dynacorn I mean, Autometal Direct to get with me on the Camaro stuff, which is okay because they said November is what that's what they had told me, was they would have parts in November. So it may not help to push the limit and say, hey, where's the stuff? If they're gonna give it to me, for free. But we'll have to figure that out when it gets there. So I'm gonna, as I keep working on the 56, which I hope that I'll have everything together by this weekend. There's still a few bugs that I need to work out. One of the issues, just to show you, is the brake hose. And when I say it's an issue, this kit came with two. Oh, I just realized these brake hoses are different. It came with two braided brake hoses, but I just realized not only is it braided, but it's also got a clear sleeve outside the braid. That's pretty industrial. But what I'm running into, one of the things I have to do is install the carrier or holder for the brake hose. The problem is this little thing is circle. It's round. And this, I know I can't really get it close enough to show you, but the area that this is supposed to go over is shaped like a bolt head. So I'm going to have to take this and cut some notches in it so that I can get this to hold it in place. The thing is, you don't want this to turn. You want it to be in a fixed location. You don't want it to be able to turn. You'd rather have it just stay in one position. Whenever you're turning the wheel, it kind of does its thing. But that's one other thing that I have to figure out, is make those notches. Just kind of how it is. Let's see here. Hold on. Back up here. Doyle, I just ordered some Rust-Oleum professional rubberized undercoating for the new trunk floor pan under the gas tank. I have not seen that, but that sounds like a great product. Rust-Oleum is really tough. It is really tough stuff. Simone, I am planning to clean up my wheel tubs and treat the rust, give it plenty of coats of paint. That sounds like a good plan. Mac says, what's up? What's up, Mac? Glad you're here. Robert says, Simone, do I need to stay a few days longer and help to work on the TC? Said, Robert, I'm planning on working at my friend's yard. Okay. Donnie Williams says, thanks. Talking about the chat and panel. Yes, you're welcome, Donnie. Simone, cool T-shirt, Barry. Thanks. That's one of the designs that Grease Rookie made for me. So yeah, I'm very happy with this one. Available on my Teespring. So if you're interested. Jeff Reynolds, it's 1 a.m. here in Barking, so good night, everyone. If I sounded less playful this evening, it's because I've been drinking. Well, at least you didn't get violent. So thank you, Jeff. I'm glad you didn't get violent. Simone, same time here, heading to sleep shortly. Mac, kit didn't come with the retaining clips. Nope. I looked through everything, all the boxes. Kind of disappointed. Didn't come with the kit. I don't know who it was supposed to. It also didn't come with... What else was there? There was something else it didn't come with. The engine mounts. Remember, we ran into that problem. I had to buy engine mounts. One of the cool thing I want to show you, though, while I'm thinking about it, when he picked up those tabs, he also picked up these, and I suggested this to the owner. These little gussets. I'm going to add these partly for a little bit of strength, but mostly for appearance. I'm going to add these on the cross member. So the main part of the cross member where it meets the frame, I'm going to weld these in. And I may weld one vertical and one fore and aft flat, just for looks, but I mean a little bit of strength. Just thought it might look kind of cool. Put those in there and help it out. One of those things. Neil McCann, sorry, but I've got to share this for someone. I saw a cherry red and white 58 Chevy 4-door parked in some guy's driveway. Well, that doesn't help us. That doesn't help us. That could be anywhere on the planet. Could be anywhere. Jeff Reynolds, sleep tight, Simone, and you, Jeff. Brake hoses. Yeah, it didn't come in the brake hoses came in a plastic sleeve, came with the banjo bolts and the retaining clips, but that's it. That's it. Didn't come with the tabs. Yay. Simone says, good night, everyone. Good night, Simone. Glad you're here. Glad you were here. John Lenore. Hello, Joe Daddy. I love this show. I love the way you show how things go and don't go. Oh, the way things go and don't go. Thank you so much. You're welcome, John. As I say to other people, tips are appreciated. Mac, I might have some of those clips, brother. Well, okay. I'm trying to get this done over the next few days. And really, the ones that we bought, there may be some that already have the holes cut in them. I just haven't researched it. But it's weird that they sell those as brake hose holders, but they don't have the pattern. Kind of weird. Rick, any updates on the cars you were looking at in New Jersey? Yeah, no, not really. Sort of, kind of. I did talk to the owner of the 69 car. I did talk to that owner. It was a difficult conversation. I'll just put it that way. I don't know what he's asking for. Like, as I talk to the guy and I say, what do you have? And he's telling me he's got this car and this car and this car. And he wants to probably sell everything together. And so I ask, what's your price? What do you want for everything? I don't know. I don't know what they're worth. Well, you must have a number somewhere in your head that would say, okay, I'm good with that. So I don't know how to approach this. I'm kind of struggling with the whole indecision thing. I mean, we all get it. If you have something you want to sell, I've said it before. If he had told me to make an offer, I might have been kind of interested more. I'm still interested, but when they just say, I don't know what it's worth, well, do some homework. Let me know what you think it's worth. I know what it's worth, like completely restored, all good to go original, but it's not original. It's missing the engine. At least on the Mustang. And then the other cars need a lot of work. The Cougars. There's 2 Cougars there. And they need a lot of work. Well, he's commenting real quick on the Cougars. Like, people have been calling and asking about this or asking about that. I'd rather sell it all together and blah, blah, blah. And I'll get that. But you have to have some number that you are okay with saying, okay, take it. So I don't know. The other car, I did get a text message today that said that they have the title for the other car, but that's as far as I got. They said they might have a price for me today, but I didn't get another text, and that's not a big deal. I'm just kind of relating some information. So the other car, the 68, I mean, they should know. I hope they know that it's not worth much the way it sits. Like, it's really bad. It's really bad. It's going to need everything. So I don't know what their number is, but if it comes into where I'm comfortable, then maybe I'll make a deal on it. but I have to wait and hear what their thought is. Terry Barry, is it still under lock and key? Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. Yeah. Yay. Max, LOL. Yep. And lowball him and see what he comes back with. Well, yeah, I thought about that, and let's just. I don't want to get too into the conversation we had. Well, let's say I'm talking to somebody else, right? Not even this guy. That I'm talking to somebody else, um, and they're discussing a part, right? Let's say, let's just say it's um, I'll just go off the distance and say it's a Ford 9-inch, right? Posi unit, blah blah blah, and you ask somebody, what do you want for that Posi unit? What do you want for that Ford 9-inch? And the guy says, well, I bought that, or when I bought that X number of years ago, I paid, and we'll just throw a number out there, I paid $3,500. Let's just say that, right? So that's just kind of the scenario. And you think about that for a minute, and you go, nobody has ever paid $3,500 for a Ford 9-inch, not an original plain, something simple. And then he tells you that, but I would probably sell it for $2,500. And again, I default back to, I really doubt anybody has paid $2,500 for a Ford 9-inch out of a whatever. It would have to be some super duty special, blah blah blah. So when I hear those numbers get thrown around, and I'm thinking, where did he get those numbers from? Because if you paid $3,500 for a Ford 9-inch 40 years ago, that's your problem. Because it wasn't worth it then, and it's sure not worth it now. Okay, so that's where I heard through that conversation, I was like, where's he getting these numbers from? And is he not remembering correctly? Because I could see if he paid $350 for a Ford 9-inch 50 years ago, 40 years ago, because they were everywhere, but not $3,500. So I don't know what's going on. Kind of leery about it right now. Dave says, per Jack, the shop wanted to pull the car out before they gave a price. He didn't hear anything more today. Okay, I get that. I get that. Like I said, though, I really hope they understand there's not much left of that car to begin with. Robert, generally when I see someone wanting to sell everything as one big lot, they tend to want way too much, but at the same time, they usually want to sell it fast, which those two don't go together. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know where this guy is. I talked to him on the phone, he says, I don't have internet, I don't know what they're worth, blah blah blah. Well, I can't sit here and do your homework. I can't sit here and say, well, if it was number one condition is worth X, number two condition worth X, number three is X. I don't really know the condition of these vehicles. I don't know. I can't say it's worth $5,000. I can't say it's worth $10,000. I don't know. That's the difficulty. Roger, the 68 is almost door hinges and a VIN. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. That's pretty accurate. Mac, $750. Yeah, for a Ford 9-inch. Yeah. John Lenore, you said Dynacorn. Do they make the best floor pans? I'm fixing to restore my 6.6 factory, all original. K-code. Oh, K-code, I guess. Fastback Mustang. Actually, they do make very good, pans. I did see a notice today that CJ Classics, also, the guy had said he got a pan from CJ Classics for one of those, and he was very happy with how it fit. Very happy. Like, it didn't need anything. He said it just dropped right in. I've heard other people talk about Dynacorn, where they've put in a pan and it's been too narrow at the one end or the other, and they've had to modify it. So by default, I'm going to say Dynacorn is good. But you may want to do a little research and see what the CJ Classic, what they have to offer, and if it's compatible. I know that sometimes they use the same stampers; they just put their name on it. So, um, but it is pretty good. Uh, Max says Dynacorn sheet metal is iffy in my opinion. It can be very much iffy. That's what I was saying. There's been times where the pan fits right and times where it's slightly narrow. I don't know if I can say get this one for sure and be done with it. I don't know. Dave Conwell, I believe they have a rational concept of what's there. Okay. Well, as long as they know what's there adds up to what's needed. And what would be needed. Car Guy Troy sounds like an odd situation on these cars you're looking at. One would think they would have some idea range or something. And if the 3500 9-inch is a benchmark, up in the night. Yeah, I don't. I mean, I'm confused by all that. So I don't know. Robert just come up with a number that's worth it to you. Offer that and go from there. Yeah. Well, again, the default problem is, it's I only want the Mustang. I don't want the Cougars. Now, granted, you can probably part the Cougars out and get some money back, but at what point do you not make up the difference? You know what I'm saying? If it's a 428 Cougar and the other one's a Cougar Eliminator, but if the roof is rusted off of the Cougar, what good is it? I mean, granted, you might get a handful of parts. So to me, the Cougars are worth $1,000 a piece, in my opinion, because I don't care. So the Mustang, I would probably be between $5,000 and $10,000 on that car. Just saying, but I don't know. Okay. Max says I agree, Craftsman. Yes. Big talk. What you working on, Dosser? I'm guessing you're saying Gasser. I'm guessing. But yeah, this 56 Chevy behind me is a Gasser car. It'll never be raced, which is good. It'll just be a show car. Just drive it around, take it to cruise-ins, and dream about it. Because I'd rather it not be raced, honestly. Car's too nice overall to be going down a drag strip. But it will have the 396 in it with a Super T10 4-speed. So, 56 Chevy clean title. Yeah. Yeah, it is 56. Should be a clean title. I don't know. It's not mine. I'm doing it for a friend. So I'm trying to get it all put together for him. Matt, cruising and chilling always works. Yeah. And that's fine. I'm looking forward to it coming together. And becoming, drivable again. I got the steering put together. I'm working on a video for that. It's looking good. And one thing also I have to do is come up with some steering stops, because the I could probably show you a picture. I took a picture of it earlier. The way the steering is set up, I don't know if you can see that very well. Look how far that's turning to the left. Look how far that can turn. That's scary. That is way too much. So I'm going to have to come up with some stops for that, so that it doesn't oversteer. Let's see. Terry, what year are the Cats? I believe they're both 69s. Doyle, is he putting a blower on the 56? No. Just going to be carburetor. Donnie says, I'll take the Cougar. Well, that's all well and good if I could, make a deal on them and turn them around quick. Mac, oh, yeah. Yep. Abdullah, Error code U0100 Dodge Ram 1500 2006. I don't know. I don't know what that code is. I don't have. You could probably Google that, figure that out pretty quick. But I don't have I don't have any information to share on that one at this point. Big talk. I always wanted the Shelby GT500 Mustang from Gone in 60 Seconds. Eleanor. Yeah. I I'm okay with that car. I mean, it is a cool car. I grant you that. I think I'm more into the original Eleanor. I wouldn't mind actually building a clone of the original Eleanor, just because. I think the original movie was, in my opinion, much better. I don't. Nicolas Cage. No. Not my favorite actor by any means. But I like the original Gone in 60 Seconds. So, Donnie, that's what I have: a 68 Cougar and a 72 Skylark. Okay. Terry Keithley says, I'll take one. Well, yeah. That's another thing too. Logistics. Let's say I did make make a deal on these cars. The thing is, I have to get them back here. They're up in New Jersey. So either I have to contract somebody to put them on multiple trailers or something, or I make road trips. And it would be at least 3 road trips because I don't have any other way to move these things. So that's another thing, is the logistics of it, which would be very difficult. Big talk. Do you know if Ford Focus 2015 need blinker fluid? They do, but it's got to be synthetic. That was the year they transitioned. Because in 2014, they were still using conventional. But in 2015, they went to a synthetic. And if you mix the two together, you're going to get an erratic cycling out of the lights itself. So make sure you check your VIN code and the build date. I think there's a breakdown, and sometime, I think it was mid-March, for some reason that kind of stands out. So check your build date, and then that'll tell you whether it was synthetic or conventional. And don't mix the two. Do not mix the two. You will regret that. So good question. Chris, 68 GT Puke Green from Tokyo Drift. I have not. I guess I'm out of. I have not watched any of those. You're talking about the. I don't even know what that shit. What it was. I think I saw the first one. The first of that movie series, but then after that, I never watched another one because it just didn't make any sense. But I guess they have 68 GT. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Blinker fluid, yeah. Well, it's important. You got to have the right blinker fluid, or you're in trouble. Mid-year switch. Yep. Doyle always liked the look and stance of the 70 Mach 1 or Boss 302. Yeah. Yeah. I love the 69s, but also the 70 is a very cool looking car as well. A very cool looking car. But at this point, like I said, I don't know where I'm at on this guy's chart. I don't know what his numbers are, and I'm leery to. I don't know. I guess I could just throw some numbers at him and see what he says. But he's talking about having all kinds of other stuff too, like transmissions and cylinder heads, and you're talking about this. Well, could be a pile of miscellaneous as well. So how do you assess that? What do you think that is worth? If he's got 3 Ford 9-inches that he says are worth $2,500 a piece, sorry, I'm not interested. So I don't know. Very difficult to come up with a simple answer on that. Okay, what else was there I wanted to mention? I got that done. 56. I think it's about it. I'm pretty much covered on on topics for what I'm working on. Let's see, Jerry. I'm looking for a 250 Ford inline 6. Looking for a head for a 250 Ford inline 6. So, if anybody has a line on a cylinder head for Jerry, share it with us or share some information or update us on the next live stream. Dave, the Ford Focus has a data plate on the inside of the oil pan that specs out the blinker fluid capacity. You need to check that. Well, I think they changed that. Because they found that when people were pulling these oil pans, they weren't getting the thread torque right. And it was just kind of silly anyway to put the data plate inside the oil pan. I mean, come on. I know it's Ford and all. And Ford's known for doing some really ingenious things. But the problem is when they were starting to retorque those, I think they moved it later on. I'm trying to remember if it was still under the back seat or behind the dash. I don't remember where they put those. But yeah, they changed that. Doyle, I believe the blinker fluid is on the same shelf as the muffler bearings at AutoZone. Well, you would think that. But they actually keep it in its own separate section. So it's with the fluids in itself, and the muffler bearings. They've kept those on the shelf, but I've never seen them on the same shelf. But you're right. I mean, they have them, but you really have to know which aisle to go down. So just keep that in mind. Rick, when admiring a restored 70 Boss 302 at a show years back, I had a kidney stone attack. Didn't stop me from looking at the car, though. Okay. I'll give you a bell for that. I've had one kidney stone in my life. No. I'll just say no. I never want to experience that again. Ever. Dave, my bad. It's in Braille under the headliner. Now you're being silly. It could very well be. Okay. I don't have much else to talk about tonight. There's really 56. Yeah, I'm really kind of caught up. So unless somebody has something else they want to discuss, I think we'll probably call it a night. Give you a few minutes to maybe throw some ideas out here. I know that tomorrow my wife is flying back, so midday tomorrow I have to stop whatever I'm doing, drive up to the airport, pick her up, my son, his girlfriend, bring them back here, all that sort of thing, which is fine. It's fine. It's all part of life, right? Max laughing. Rick, you need to make a metric adjustable wrench to install muffler bearings. Yeah. I think they actually already exist. I think. That's a good idea, though. And Rick Stevenson says, good night, everyone. Yep. We'll call it a night. I want to thank everybody for being here and participating. This has been a good show. I'll be back again on Monday night, this coming Monday night at 7. And, Terry Cathley, peach cobbler and ice cream. Give you a bell for that. Oh, hold on. Doyle, have you ever thought about rebuilding a Studebaker? I have. But I don't know if I ever get the chance. But if it was the right one, I would probably consider it. Find me a 53 or 54 Commander. We'll talk. Anyway, again, thanks everybody for being here. I'm going to go get something to eat. I'll be back next Monday. We can talk about more stuff. And until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.